like
a good rest.
I don't like the whole this. I'm gonna beep this part out, but like this mine, like that's all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's not.
It's free
mine.
for all.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Well, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Better with Spice. We're your Spice sisters
It's Coby.
and Viv.
Yay!
So we're back again. Can't believe it's been a month already since our last reading wrap up. So we're going to come back and do what we read in March.
And maybe go through our TBR for next month.
Yes, but I guess first of all, how many? I'm like jumping straight into the bat. So like, do you have any life update for me?
Not really.
Yeah, neither
no.
do I,
Yeah, life is just the same. Well, I'm not sick anymore.
Oh yeah, well,
That's a positive.
wait, were you sick?
Yeah, because I had the sinuses thing last time.
Oh.
And the allergies.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah, no life update on my end as well.
God, we're so boring. Sick podcast, guys.
Yeah. nice. Okay, well, fine. Let's just jump into it then. Well, I think last time in our February wrap up, you mentioned that you were currently reading 2 books.
Yes. So last time I said that I was reading A Little Life and also You, Me on Vacation. So
Did you finish them?
no. Okay. So A Little Life, I got 30% in and I realized that I have been reading it for a whole month and I was only 30% in. And I was like, this is actually ruining my little life.
How many pages is it though? 30% is
huge.
pretty good for that book, isn't it?
Probably. Like I think it's really it's a huge book. Like I don't know, 700 pages or something. But yeah, no, it was because it was the only book I was reading at the same time. And I wasn't reading anything else. So I just felt like, I don't know, it was kind of ruining my enjoyment of reading.
So but what made you DNF?
I think it's just like it's been
Too
long
heavy.
enough. It's long. Like it wasn't even that heavy. Like I wasn't even in like
To the
that
heavy
far into the heavy parts, but it was just like I didn't feel like I was enjoying it. Like there were parts that I was very emotionally attached, but then there are parts where I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Would you pick it up again?
I don't think so.
Oh no, so it's in a DNF pile.
Yeah, it's DNF. Yeah, and then my friend also DNF'd it. So
At what percent do you know?
lower than mine.
Oh.
So I think it makes it even like harder to pick it up again.
Because you guys did it as a book club.
Yeah,
technically.
we were going to read it together. Yeah.
Okay, well, and did you start You and Me on Vacation?
Yeah, so I'm about 50% in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I also realized it's called different things on different websites.
Oh, what?
So it's called You and Me on Vacation, but it's also called People We Meet on Vacation.
Oh.
Yeah, so I just realized, like, I was looking at Goodreads.
Is that... And it's definitely not the same book.
Yeah, am I confused? Oh, okay. People We Meet on Vacation is the American title, and You and Me on Vacation is the UK title.
But why would you have two titles? I can't even see I can only see You and Me on Vacation.
Oh, very interesting. It's kind of like how Harry Potter is called Philosopher's Stone or Sorcerer's Stone.
I'm a Philosopher's Stone, I think.
Oh, yeah, me too. Which makes sense, the UK version.
But why do we not understand People We Meet on Vacation? Like, is that...
Yeah,
are we that
why
dumb?
would they do that? That just doesn't make any sense.
Well, okay, how are you enjoying it so far?
I am enjoying it, but it's not as good as the first Emily Henry book that I read.
Which was... you read Book Lovers.
Yes,
That's one of your favourite books.
Yeah.
Interesting. So how many books did you read in March?
2. Yeah. So because I
Nice
DNF'd,
goal.
because I DNF'd A Little Life, I picked up I was like, I need to pick up like a thriller. So Cindy, who is my friend who we were reading A Little Life together, we actually read this book together next, which was pretty good.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
Instead of reading one book, we both were like, nah, fuck that. And then we read something else together, which was pretty good. So we read The Only One Left.
Oh, that's the...
Riley
you were
Sager.
reading that last time I saw you.
Yeah.
I actually, ever since you said the book. Obviously, our phones listen to us. And then my TikTok was filled with a lot of people reading that book, saying that it was like one of the top books of like the year.
Damn.
Saying that it's really, really good.
It is really, really good. I gave it a 3.5 stars.
Oh, that's not...
Like, I think for me, it was too many twists and turns. Like, I was like, I can't keep up. I'm confused.
You're like, oh, what?
Yeah, like, I was like, whoa, whiplash. So, yeah, like, I didn't love it, but my friend gave it a 5-star. So, you know.
Do you feel like you and your friend have similar styles in books?
I think so. I think, yeah, maybe what was the differing factor was that. Yeah, like, it was just too much.
Interesting. But would you then this is the first book that you read from, is it a guy, right?
Yeah.
Who wrote it?
Yeah. I would read something else. Oh no, I've actually read a couple of his books before. So I do like his writing.
I think someone was saying he's coming out with a new book or something.
Book club pick?
I don't know about thrillers, but
really? Do you not read thrillers?
No, I do read thrillers, but I think it needs to be a very specific type. Because like, just side note, I read like The Haunting Adeline.
Oh
yeah, I finally finished the To Do It.
Yeah.
And maybe I could talk about it because I was going to talk about it in our April wrap up because it's April book, but briefly, like, I didn't really like it.
But that's not thriller.
It's not thriller, but it does have like that sense of writing where it's like tries to make you feel creeped out, you know?
Oh really?
But I feel like I don't like stalker romance. I think I just don't like stalk. I'm like, it just doesn't. It's kind of creepy. Like, why would you want someone like stalking you?
Fair enough.
I would probably prefer a serial killer romance.
Okay.
Like not
in real life.
No. But as in, I feel like the thrill of like what I enjoyed about the series was more the like killing acts. Really, I shouldn't say that I like the killing part, but the stalker part was like creepy and just weird versus like the part where like shit was getting done, you know? It's like, oh, ooh, torture. Yeah.
Oh, really? Like when I read those scenes, I was just like,
yeah, it was just like
yeah.
But you are a very avid thriller reader.
Yeah. I think like, maybe because I like thriller so much that that's why I'm like, huh? Is it a thriller?
But it's weird because like I love thriller movies. I love horror movies, but I just don't know why I don't want to read them.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Well, like, I don't really like horror movies, but I do like horror books.
Why do you think that is? Maybe because horror movies
is
too much.
Yeah,
I think you just don't like things that are too much.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be like a fucking Goldilocks. Like you need like just right.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, maybe the thriller books don't do it for me because I like the atmosphere of a horror movie.
Yeah, with like the soundtrack
and like feeling like that. Whereas if I'm reading it, I'm like, maybe I'm not imagining it as much or imagining too much. Yeah. Maybe that's why.
That's fair.
Yeah, interesting.
Nice.
Anyway, okay, so you read 2 books.
Yes, and the other book was that smutty book that I read for like I literally read nothing.
Book?
I read nothing. I mean, I read it, so I'm gonna count it to my goal.
But I think that was part of you.
The
Wasn't
2
that
that
a novella?
I literally read nothing last month.
And why was that?
Because I was reading A Little Life.
Oh, so it just consumed too
Yeah,
much. And
like
by the time you decided DNF, it was already the end of the month.
Yeah, like, and that's why I said, it took me a whole month to read 30%.
Oh,
and it wasn't as if like I was just like reading, like sitting down and reading. Like I was like, reading on the train. I was reading when I was brushing my teeth. Like I was.
Did you find that you had to reread pages?
No.
Or it was that like you just didn't keep clicking next? Like,
it was just really hard. Like, you know, some books that you're like, oh my god, I have to read it. Like I have to know. But I'm like, I don't have to know.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, but
because so many people have like revolutionary experiences.
Yeah, like I didn't get that.
No, okay.
Yeah, sorry guys.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, is that reading vlog still gonna be up?
No.
Okay.
All right. What did you read this month?
I read 6 books, so honestly, not that much better than you. A bit sad, honestly a sad month, and the books, half of it was Magnolia Park, so I can't even talk about it, but I did finish. I finished every Magnolia Park book, and is it 2 Daisy Hayes books that was out? I can't remember.
Yeah, there's 2,
and there's 2 more coming out.
So you read 4 books.
I read all 5 of them.
Oh, there are 5 of them. Oh, yeah, there's 3 Magnolia Park books.
So I read the 3. I think we obviously read Magnolia Parks together, And then in March, I finished the rest of the series. And I can't talk about it because it will be part of our book club. So read those, can't tell you what my rating is. Then after Magnolia Parks, because it was such a long series as well, and it is like not a heavy book, but I guess like emotional book, you know. Okay. So then it was like, oh, what do like after you finish a series, you always ask yourself like, what do you read? Because it's like, do you read something in the same like genre, or do you read something completely like different just to like break it out? And I kind of was getting into a bit of a slump because it's always like the pressure of finding that book after a book that you like a series or something that you really liked or disliked or whatever. Like then you're like, I need to find something to just so it took me a while to like find so then I kind of went into like a mini small town romance era. Like so the three books that I read was small town. So the first one was Rock Bottom Girl by Lucy Score. Have you read Lucy Score?
No.
I don't honestly, the title doesn't
I was like, interesting
Lucy
title.
Score is the one who writes the
Things We Never Got Over.
That one. Which it's like I didn't mind them, but I didn't love them.
Okay.
But like I feel like she writes small town romance like okay. Like she's
okay.
As in like all her books are small town romance. Yeah. So it feels nice and nostalgic. The rating I gave was 3.2, so it was not great.
That's not great, yeah.
No, I think I said like, because I think the characters were like in the late 30s, and I don't know why I just don't like reading like when they're too old. Like, is that bad?
You're not that far off yourself.
I know, but it's just like when they're saying like 38, 39, and I'm like, oh, they're kind of just like,
great.
Is that like sexy or is that like daddy sexy? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just,
it says father.
And I think the problem is when like they are listed as old, the writing still feels so young, and to me it just makes me really confused. Like, because I'm like, you sound like a 20-year-old, but you keep mentioning that you're almost like 40, and it just doesn't.
Yeah,
it's just awkward. Like, don't act like that when you're like. But then like it's not judging. But it's just like,
yes, you are.
Ish. It's just like, why are you thinking like that when you're like meant to be mature?
Yeah, that's right. But so it wasn't the writing style. It was like what they were doing.
I think, just dialogue. You know how like for me, dialogue is a huge thing. Like I just get really annoyed. But I like small town, and then it had like found family. So it was like, not too bad. Nice. The rating actually is good on Goodreads. So I'm in the minority. It's like 4.28 over like 45,000 reviews.
Interesting.
Anyway, so I was like, okay, it's just me. That's fine. But
what were the tropes?
The tropes is small town romance.
Nice.
I can't remember.
Then that's when you know it's not that good.
I can't even remember if fake dating. Fake dating. Yeah. Anyway, it's not bad.
Okay. But not great.
Then I read it's by Shane Rose. You probably haven't. Honestly, it was recommended on KU. Like, she is like.
Oh, I feel like she sounds familiar.
I don't know if you like. Do you know any of these? Corrupted Chaos. Like, they're typical of the men on the side of the freaking.
No, I don't think I know.
I think I read one of her books last month or like early in the year, under KU, and then I enjoyed it. So then I was like, oh, I realized there was 2 other books in the series. I didn't enjoy this one.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It was like borderline a 2 something, but I put it as a 3.
Oh, you bumped it up.
Put it as a 3 because of like spice and tension. But I think like we talked about spice in a couple like episodes ago, and I think we were talking about how like do we like possessive spice, you know, when it's like you're mine, like, you know, blah blah blah. And I this book has made me realize I don't like possessive spice. Like, I don't mind a little bit possessive spice, and I think I like it more in possessive like sweetness. Like, it's kind of like, well, you're my girl, like, so you have to wear my sweater or something, for example. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I don't
not
like
aggressive.
I don't like the whole I'm gonna beat this part out, but like this mine, like that's all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's not.
It's free for all.
So he kept saying that like every time, like every single time.
Nah, pass.
Every time, like literally every time they're about to have sex, like, whose this? And he wouldn't keep going until she's like, it's yours. So I was like, I was annoyed.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
no, I get that.
But you know how I never liked a DNF, so like,
no, so you pushed through.
yeah.
Congratulations.
But then I finished the month with a decently good small town romance, 3.6 stars. It's called Out with the Tide, literally on KU. It's like about I think it's just like a coastal town, small town. And I thought it was quite cute. I like found family.
Yeah.
I like friendship, like when there's a lot of friends and the banter between like a lot of friends. So that was good. But yeah, it's overall started off really high and ended up mediocre.
Oh
no. Which was
Good
quite
one.
sad. Yeah.
Yes.
But so you're currently reading just You and Me on Vacation, like but you said, I think, how many books are you currently reading now?
I am currently reading. Well, I'm also reading Daisy Hates.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And I guess like yeah, those are the books that I'm actively reading. But I think maybe for books that I am going to read or like that's on my TBR.
Okay, wait, first of all, TBR. Let's talk about TBR. How many books are on your TBR list in total right now?
Oh, 326. But like sometimes I look through that list and I'm like, what
Do
was
I really want to?
thinking?
Yeah.
So nothing. You're
That
not
was
thinking
going to be
anything.
my second question because I have 690 books on my TBR, right? But like, yeah, I sometimes when I'm searching for what books to read, I go down and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
no.
that's right.
And then I'm like, if it's a no, why is it on
Why
my
is it
TBR?
even there? But I find it pretty like hard to un-TBR it. So then it's just there.
So what makes you TBR a book?
Oh, it could be anything. It could be literally just like the cover, or I see like one quote.
Yeah, for me, it's
Yeah.
like if I'm on TikTok and I see like one quote and it's
I'm
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, that TBR. Or like maybe if a YouTuber that I really like talks about it, then I'm like, okay, yeah, I would read that.
Sometimes I'm like, I watch those videos where people will be like, books like you need to read, and I just go through the list and I add them all, and I go like, I tell myself I'll go back
no,
and
you
read the
don't.
blurb,
Yeah,
which I don't, which is why there will be like really weird choices in the like
Yeah.
book. But for you, when you TBR, do you read the blurb first then TBR?
Yeah,
Like,
I do. Yeah, generally.
do you don't read reviews though?
No, I don't. Well, I guess I'll just look at the star rating. Yeah, like if it's, I think like similar to, well, I actually didn't used to do this, but like I used to TBR it.
Whatever,
Yeah, even if it's
yeah.
like 3, but now I'm like, okay, I probably won't. TBR
Yeah, if it's
unless
snobby like
at
me now.
least like 3 point or like a 4.
So what's your minimum?
I think like maybe a 3.8, unless the premise sounds really, really enticing.
But what if it's 3.8 with like 200 reviews? Is that enough?
Yeah.
Because like for me, 3.8 over like 40,000 reviews, I'm like, okay, that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
But if it's 3.8 over like 1,000 reviews, I'm like, well, that means that the
like
average
no
is
one has read
pretty
it.
like
yeah.
3.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, but like I don't. Sometimes it's just vibes. Yeah, I don't even think that deeply about it.
You're like, oh, it looks pretty. Okay, what's on your TBR then this month?
I think I don't want to overcommit this month, like I did last month. I mean, did I really overcommit?
No, last month you said that you...
I was gonna read 2 books, and I am
wrote it
reading.
down. I did write it down.
Last month I said A Little Life and You and Me on Vacation, and I'm right.
Yeah, and
reading,
you're
I'm reading.
So you
them.
actually
tried.
Yeah, you actually
I
did.
tried.
Versus me, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like I think I said I'm gonna read like 6 books, and I didn't read any of the 6 books that I listed except Magnolia Parks. We're failures.
That's all right. So a book that I really want to read is called The Best We Could Do. It's actually a graphic novel.
Like
and
anime?
No, it's
on
I guess
Kindle
like
though?
Yeah, it is
graphic novel?
on. Yeah, it's on Kindle.
What's it called?
The Best We Could Do by T. Bowie. So it is a graphic novel. It's like a memoir about the author's family moving from Vietnam to America, and it talks a lot about life and like motherhood, and apparently it's very breathtaking. Although
The images or the book?
Both. I think the story and the images, like the art, is very breathtaking.
I can see the reviews, like moving book.
Yeah, it has 4.36 for 35,000 reviews.
So how did you find this book?
I think I heard someone talk about it on YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to put that on my TBR.
Wow, interesting.
Mm.
No?
And I this book has been on my like library list. Like it finally came in from my holds, so I'm gonna read it. It's called Life's Too Short by Abby.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you read this one? Or
no,
want to
but
read
I've read a few of her books.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't mind her as an author. Is this going to be the first time?
First book, yeah.
I've read Part of Your World.
The blue one.
Yeah. And then Yours Truly.
Mm.
I think that's...
Did you like them?
I rated Yours Truly a 4-star.
That's pretty good.
And I rated Part of Your World... It says 4-star. I didn't write reviews last year, so it's hard for me to know exactly the rating I gave. I think I liked Yours Truly more than Part of Your World.
All right. Yeah,
but,
Yours Truly is more popular, I think.
Yeah, but I haven't, like, her... Is the Life's Too Short part of, like, the Friend Zone series?
Let
or
me just double check. Yeah, the Friend Zone.
So you're
number 3.
you're only reading the third one?
Yeah. Because I think they're standalones.
Yeah, I think they are. It's like probably just typical, like they mention like the previous couple or something.
Yeah, then that's fine. Yeah.
So you only have 2 on your TBR.
Yeah, well, there's something that I want to read, and it's called Whispers of You by Catherine.
Oh, that's
Cowles.
on my list too.
Yeah, I think it's from Kindle Unlimited.
Oh.
So I actually saw a YouTuber talk about this. Maybe this month I've been watching a lot of YouTube, but it's kind of like half mystery, half romance. So I think that's
it's a series.
Yeah, like this was number 1. I think it's quite an interesting premise, just because it's like the blend of the genres. So
see, I could do that. Spicy thriller. A little bit of romance, a little bit of thriller. But I don't know if I can do a full thriller.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah.
But I haven't sat through one yet. So maybe once I do, it'll kick off like a Frida.
Because I feel like whenever you mention thriller, you talk about
it's always a romance thriller.
Yeah, and I'm like, those are not.
No, I know they're not thrillers. I know.
So yeah,
sweet.
Yeah. So what are you gonna read?
So on my TBR, I also don't want to overcompensate. Overcommit and pressure myself, because I don't know why. Like, it's just harder to read these days with like everything going on.
What's going on?
It's just life.
Is this life update?
No. So, but I think the biggest thing I want to read is 2 things. I mentioned this for like literally the past 4 months, ever since like ever since we started the podcast. I think I said I'm gonna read this book, and I still haven't read it, which is bloody Redeeming 6 and Saving 6, because Chloe Walsh's new book comes out literally next week or the week after.
You're behind.
I'm behind. I'm actually I'm on the second part of the last book, if that makes sense. So I have about 50% left before I can read the next one. I think it's technically standalones because they're about individual couples, but I don't like not finishing before I read. Yeah. So I do definitely need to read that at some point. But my biggest one would be Throne of Glass series. So that's Sarah J. Maas.
Yeah. I thought you said you weren't going to read those.
So I said I wasn't going to read them because I'm such a snob when it says YA. I'm like, nah.
Oh, I said YA.
It's technically YA.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, YA? Like, is it gonna be like Twilight, but like not in a? I don't know. Is it just gonna be not fulfilling enough after you've read such a good series? But I have like a few friends who have read it and are rereading it and just keep talking about it to me. They're like, have you read Throne of Glass yet? Have you even tried? And I'm like, no, like haven't even bought it. But they're just like, they just keep saying like you're not gonna regret it, like you have to
yeah.
So I'm like, oh, is it time? Like maybe it's time. Like I haven't read fantasy in a long time, so I'm like, maybe it's time to. But it is 8 books.
Yeah. But everyone I know who's read it rereads it.
But there's
so,
they're like So they're like, Viv, there's no spice until like
Yeah.
the last 3 books. And I'm like, okay, I don't need to have spice because after
Yes, you do.
Magnolia, no, but after
Don't lie.
Magnolia Parks, I was like, oh, I realized I don't have to have spice as long as the romance is done really well. So I'm like, is there romance or is it just all like action and like
Yeah.
magic? You know, because I'm like, I don't know if I can keep rereading scenes of like fighting
Yeah.
for
yeah,
like
yeah.
8 books straight, you
Yeah.
know? And they're like, no, there's like heaps of romance. And I'm like, but what's the level? Like,
Yeah,
I'm trying to be
yeah.
like, what do you mean, like romance, like mildly
Like,
sweet?
is it like just
Ro-
like touching hands?
yeah, or is
yeah,
it like
what's going on?
lingering looks?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, how lingering
Are these looks?
can you do for like 8 books, you know?
And these are big books too. They're not like, you know YA. When I think YA, it's like, you know, like
Big
tiny.
writing.
Yeah, like books you read in high school are really small, but like these are big books.
I know.
Why
And
do
I'm
you have
like,
so much to say?
like exactly. That's why I'm like, how many fighting scenes can you put in a book? So I think that's my biggest goal. And then if I hate them, my third option is classic Elsie Silver.
Yes.
Her newest book comes out literally, I think, tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
I think it's part of a new series called Wild Love.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'll read that first, and then I'll go into Throne of Glass.
Wait, so is your goal to read for Throne of Glass the first book or like all 8 books
Or 8 books.
in 1 month?
So the thing is,
What
like,
the fuck?
well, people say once you start, it's like, dun, 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 dun. Like they say, like you can't stop. That's why I can't read it in between the other books I want to read. So I have to choose, like, if I read Throne of Glass, then I'm committed for the next 8 books.
That's absolutely insane.
But you know why I put Throne of Glass in this month is because we're obviously going to Melbourne
So
and we're getting a tattoo, right?
So?
And
so you're gonna get a tattoo?
no. Well,
You're like, oh
if
my
I love
God,
it that much after book 1, I'm like, I'm fucking get a tattoo. No, but I obviously do love like Akata series, like with my heart and soul, you know.
Yes.
And I mentioned that Akata inspired tattoo that I
Yes,
wanted,
yeah.
but I'm not gonna get it until like, you know, I sit on it for a bit. But since I'm getting a tattoo about my love for fantasy books, then I feel like I need to read fantasy because I haven't been reading fantasy. So like, why am I getting a dragon
that's fair,
on my
that's fair.
arm? Yeah,
But are there dragons in Throne of
no,
Glass?
but it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, they might. They're not. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Throne of Glass does have dragons. Who knows? There's no dragons in Akatar, but they like fly and stuff.
But
So
that's not even the same thing.
But like, oh, I can't spoil it. Anyway, no, there's no. I don't think there's dragons. But I love fantasy books.
yeah. Would you ever read high fantasy?
No,
Okay, so romantasy only. Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, if I really like Throne of Glass but no, I know.
Yeah, like
It needs to have romance.
You can't even read a thriller without any romance in it.
No, actually, I think I can read a thriller without any romance, especially if it's a pure thriller.
Yeah.
Then I probably wouldn't want romance because it's like I don't care about you.
Yeah, who you're
Loving someone or who you're hooking
with.
with.
Like,
Yeah, I
who's
need to
gonna
know
die?
I need to know who killed who. Like,
yeah.
and I think that's what I liked about Haunting Adeline, even though it didn't have thriller, but obviously I don't know how far you went in, but it obviously went through like there was a little bit of mystery, you know, like who killed her grandma or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of mystery, and then because of the whole stalking thing and like they're just having sex and the sex was not very good, and then I was like, but I was interested. I was like, I just want to know who killed the grandma.
Yeah. That's true. Like, I think like that's why you read a thriller is because you're like, I need to know. And like, you know, the book I was saying that the Riley Sager book I read, I actually read it in like a less than a week, and it's because like,
you want to know.
I need to know.
But
Like,
you knew too much.
Yeah, and then I was at the end, I was like, oh my God.
Maybe I should read that. Do you think I like it?
Yeah, maybe.
I think like I don't know. Maybe I need to as a thriller expert. Do you think I should start off with something like Frida
Yeah, I think Frida is
It's
like
like
the
a
easiest entry point into
to thriller? So if I like them, then maybe.
Yeah.
I'm like, what type of mood do you need to be to read a thriller? Do you know what I mean? Like I
I
feel
feel
like
like it's a very palate cleanser. Like I don't think I've ever been like, oh my God, like thinking about this thriller book. Like it's never like life changing, but it's kind of like when you're in the mood to watch a thriller movie.
But I'd never rewatch a thriller movie.
Yeah, no, I would never reread
Yeah.
a book thriller because it's like you already know.
But do you have any like any of your top books ever that you've read a thriller?
I think so. I would say like The Housemaid is a top book of mine.
Wow. I know. I don't know. Like, I'm scared that once I start reading thriller, it's like, it's over. Like,
Why?
I don't know. Maybe I'll be like,
It's only thrillers.
yeah, I'm a thriller girly now.
But I
like,
don't think you can read that many thrillers because it's kind of like it. You kind of expect what's going to happen.
because it's kind of like all the same. Like, you
Yeah.
find out who kills who.
Yeah,
and-
it's like the tropes just the same in romance. Whereas it's like they're going to get together. It's like similar.
True. But that's why I like spicy thrillers. Because sometimes, like, especially spicy thrillers that I've read, they're like really fucked up. So it's like there's a little bit extra, you know, even though the
Yeah.
storyline's the same of like killing and like torture or whatever, but it's like, ooh, like limbs and like
Limbs. Oh yes.
so like you didn't read up to like the part obviously, but there was this part in Hunting Adeline, the second book. It just made me laugh out loud, and I'm saying this out loud makes me feel like such a psycho, but it was like there's another character that's introduced who's psychotic, and she's kind of young, and she helps them kill people. And she kills them and then she chops their limbs. Like, this is getting a bit dark, but like then insert scene in Zaid's POV, and he's like, oh, like it took us like something like this. It took us like over an hour to bury the bodies because Sibby, which is the girl, thought it was fun to play frisbee with the limbs. And I was like, like I read it and I was like, because first of all, I'm imagining like just limbs like flying around.
I was quite very impressed that because they were like chopped in little discs. That's how she could throw them.
Oh, I don't know.
Not
It didn't
like a
say-
leg,
no, I think
like-
they were throwing like fingers,
Oh.
like kind of just like. So he was like, it took ages to find all 10 fingers
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
obviously don't want to leave evidence.
That's quite
around.
funny actually.
Yeah, and I thought that was so funny. I was like, I can just imagine this psycho girl like just
Yes.
throwing limbs around, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I finding
I
that?
think that's funny, like because it's not real life. Like it's also a different environment to like if you're watching a true crime documentary.
See, I feel like I wouldn't be able to stomach it if I saw it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what
But
I mean.
imagining it, I'm like,
Yeah. Like because it's more just like the way it's the environment of it.
But then when I told Alex about it, he was like, "What's wrong with you? That sounds like that's disgusting." And
But
I'm
I
like,
think
"Is it
it's
though?"
because he was in like.
But he
the
like it's funny
scene.
because when you recap like thrillers and stuff,
Mm,
because he doesn't read.
doesn't know how to.
Yeah, I think you asked this last time.
Yeah.
Nice joke. He doesn't read any books except self-help books. You know,
Gross.
good guy likes to take care of himself. That's fine. But he gets equally invested if I start telling him the storyline.
Maybe you should join the podcast
Yeah, he should join the podcast and maybe like
as a special guest.
of just like knowing what happens in books.
What?
I don't know. What was he joining in
I
for?
don't know. Maybe he can also start reading the books for book club.
Maybe he shouldn't read the books that we read for book club. Especially not what you read for the spicy episode. Anyway, so I think that's kind of what's on my TBR.
I think it's good to not overcommit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm excited to hear your Throne of Glass because I'm like truly shocked that you're adding it.
Well, like I'm actually more. Do you know much about Throne of Glass in terms of like the tandem read thing?
Yeah.
Like the two people who told me to like read it, who's been telling me to read it for the past year, told me that I need to read it like tandem, right?
Really?
And said that the only way you'll enjoy it is if you read it like the full experience is tandem read. And I think there's like a huge debate on like TikTok whether you should read it tandem, and also whether you should read Assassin's Blade, which is like the prequel at the start or like amongst the book.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like you know how people get like really deep.
really.
And I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah,
like
so what are you gonna do?
I think I'm gonna read a tandem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I found that to be very like interesting to read a tandem, right? Like so you're gonna have like 8 freaking documents in your Kindle and you're just like, oh wait.
Okay, no, so the
that's
tandem.
crazy.
Yeah. So I think I found a guide online,
Mm.
and apparently there's 2 ways to read Throne of Glass. There's like the romantic way
Yeah.
and the purist way,
Yeah.
right? So romantic is where you read Assassin's Blade amongst the books. But if you read it by publication, then you read Assassin's Blade first because it's a prequel.
Yeah.
So I'm like, anything that has a romance, I'm like,
Yeah,
romantic,
romance
yeah.
way, yeah.
And then they give you a guide of the tandem. And I think it's only between 2 books. 2 of the books
Okay,
inside.
okay.
Yeah. So I think it's I think it's like book 5 and 6 or something, or 6 and 7. And then it's like, 5 chapters of like book 6 and you go into like chapter 1. So like luckily I have 2 Kindles.
Oh,
And that's the only way I can. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's where paperback really helps.
Would really help.
Yeah.
But I actually saw a TikTok about this girl who she bought the ebooks and then she kind of like stitched it together.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, like I think like that would be potentially smart if you didn't have like your solution, which is the 2 books.
Well, luckily, like, funny you say that, because this morning I was like doing stuff on Calibre. Have you heard of
Yeah.
Where I stitched all the books of the Risan's POV of like math into one book, and I created like my own, like a cover that I found on like Pinterest. So now I have it in book form rather than 5 separate documents.
Would you ever get into bookbinding?
It made me feel like I'm like, oh, I can like
get into bookbinding.
You can sell this shit, you know.
I
Like,
don't think you're allowed to sell fanfic.
people do.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to.
Well, like, people sell it because they help people bookbind it.
Yeah, that it's the art of the bookbinding.
And then sometimes like the whole like thing where they want to like merge it together and they're selling it for like $5, even though you can do it equally as easily as yourself. Like, that literally didn't take me much time to merge it, but some people were selling it as like full PDF for $5, and I'm like, $5, it's free. What do you mean? Even the app's free. Answer your question. I would want to, but I feel like it's a lot of work.
Yeah, like I feel like it looks like a fun hobby, but I would have to be really into fanfics to get into bookbinding.
But what about not bookbinding, but
making the covers.
Yeah. Would you do that for your favorite books?
No, because it's like like I don't mind
the covers.
And also I'm not a physical book person. Like maybe if I was really into physical books, then maybe, but no.
Yeah, see, like now that I can do that, because initially I was going to try and find someone who could bookbind like the Risan's POV, but now that I did that, I'm like, oh, it's better in a Kindle anyway. Like, I can hug it to sleep.
Nice.
But yeah, so I will keep you updated if I end up reading.
Yeah.
Well, currently I'm reading a really terrible book because I'm trying to read everything I want to read before I start Throne of Glass.
Yes.
So I'm like reading all these like
random
shit because I'm like, once I start Throne of Glass, I can't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But they're terrible. Like,
why are you reading it? DNF?
Well, like, you know, I think you mentioned this before. You don't like Megan Quinn.
No.
I've I've read only 1 or 2 books that I like from her. But I think I don't like her. Like, this is currently I'm reading a Megan Quinn book.
Which one?
The newest one called Bridesmaid for Hire.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Okay, I'm glad. Well, I won't add that to my TBR.
No,
not that I was going to.
I'm 80% in.
Whoa.
But I'm not enjoying it. And I'm like, this is just.
Yeah, and I am currently reading a book that I'm not enjoying, and I won't talk about what it is.
Why?
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
I see.
Yeah, and like I feel like I hate reading books.
Oh yeah.
Like, it just makes me not want to read at all. Like, I'm like, I would rather just not read. And like, I think like we probably talked about this before, like in one of our earlier episodes of like, would you rather read a book you don't like or read like your favorite book of all time over and over again?
Oh,
and
but like, nobody knows about it.
Yeah. But like, I think like I would actually just I'll only read the book that I like, because like I hate reading like a book that I've already made up my mind on. And
True. Yeah, good luck. I can't tell you anything.
Yeah,
it does get better though.
I'm on 35%.
You got this.
Okay.
You have to.
Yeah, I know. I have to.
But yeah. So cool. That's
nice.
That's our reading wrap up and what we want to read for April.
So hopefully next month's update we can
actually read.
Yeah, we actually commit.
Maybe
to
I'll
it.
be able to tell you how much Throne of Glass has changed my life.
Yeah. Then now you're
and
gonna
I'm
be
like
a
that
high fantasy girl.
Yeah, and it'll be my entire personality, and I've come with the next point.
Yeah,
like I already
you
have a
the
tattoo. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I hope you can also finish the 3 books.
Yeah. Well, one of them is a graphic novel. Okay, it should be okay.
Oh yeah, I'm actually quite interested to see what you like. You actually should have you already bought it?
I actually got it from the library.
Oh,
but it's also on the Kindle.
How does it look on the Kindle? I wonder.
I haven't opened it yet, so we'll see.
Yeah, because I'm interested. Like, the only graphic novel that I read is that one that I told you to read.
That's not a graphic novel. That is a graphic novel.
It is
pretty graphic novel.
Yeah, pretty graphic, spicy novella, but it had like random surprise images there, and I was like, "Ooh!" And I must say the images aren't bad. I'm like,
very graphic.
yeah, it's quite,
I like
quite
that.
like, yeah. I was like, interesting, interesting. The book was trash, but like,
Yeah, the book was
the
absolutely
graphics were
trash.
actually not bad. It was like pretty hot.
It was pretty much corn.
Yeah, popcorn.
All right.
I know.
Well, thanks for joining this week's episode.
Mm.
And if you like this episode, remember to leave us a comment on YouTube. Maybe you can leave us, tell us what you're reading this month.
Yes, if you're reading at all, or if you're reading the same books as us,
Yeah.
or if you read Throne of Glass.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah. And then also give us 5 stars on Spotify.
Please, so we can continue being just like validated to keep doing what we're doing.
We love validation.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We really do.
All right. Okay. So happy reading, and remember, life's
Better with spice.